Hello, students. Good morning to all of you. I, Racha Saxena, working as assistant professor in Department of Electrical Engineering, welcome you all in this lecture of myself. That is of the unit number three in electrical machine one. So, as I earlier told you, that electrical machine one subject is very important in electrical engineering, and this electrical machine one subject is totally deals with the DC machines and as well as AC machines, but DC machine have a very wide range and AC machines only transformers. And the DC machine which we are talking basically of rotating type, and the AC machine is non-rotating, that is transformer. So today we are starting the unit number three, that is the new unit, and we are going to study about the unit number three, that is DC machines. Unit number 4 is also a part of this unit, but in that DC machine we will deal with the motor and generator both. But in this part, DC machine, basically we deal with the DC machine. We can say, if I want to tell you one thing, that in a whole, if I'm talking or telling you about the DC machine, so DC machine is basically machine which works on DC, not on AC. Means it requires direct current supply, or it gives direct current supply output. It take direct current supply input, it take out as a output in direct current. Okay, so input is direct current, output is also direct current. So today we are going to start. This is unit number three, that is DC machine. And what is my objective? If I am telling you one thing before the objective of this lecture, I want to tell you, I want to revise the whole thing. In the unit number one, basically we have studied about the magnetic field and magnetic circuit. In magnetic circuit, we have two types. We have two types: series and parallel. If flux is same, series. If flux is varying, parallel. Magnetic field, if I am talking about, so flux density B, flux intensity H, flux phi, mmf, reluctance, permeability. Okay, the curve which we draw with B and H, that is BH curve, hysteresis curve. Okay, so many things we have studied in the magnetic field. Second unit deals with the magnetic force, that is electromagnetic force and torque. So whenever there is a current carrying conductor plays in a magnetic field, it experiences a force. And if force is applying on something, then it will move from its initial position. So we can say displacement is there. So that displacement is basically the torque. Force we have we will basically calculate or express the value in the form of Lorentz force. Okay, and torque is basically the force cross displacement, force into displacement. So that is the torque. So in the unit number two, we studied about the electromagnetic force and torque and electromechanical conversion, basically how we convert the electrical power into mechanical and mechanical power into electrical. So in this unit number three, we are going to study about the DC machines. And if I'm talking about the DC machine, my dear students, so basically I'm talking about what? I'm talking about the types of DC machines first, and how they works, how the construction take place in it. So that is the DC machines. Now the objective of this lecture of myself is that help the student to understand about the basics of DC machine. First, basics of DC machine. What, which type of DC machine we have? Okay. So first we will talk about the DC machine basic. Okay. Then make student familiar with the construction details of DC machine. Construction details of DC machine means how can we construct a DC machine? What are the important thing in a DC machine we have? How it works? Okay, how it is the parts of construction is taking is important in a DC machine. How it playing an important role in DC machine. So later on we'll talk about the this construction. So this is about the objectives. Now direct current DC machines fundamentals. Now, if I'm talking about the fundamentals, my dear student, so I earlier told you that DC machine basically categorized into two parts. One, convert electrical power into the mechanical power, that is known as motor. Another one is the vice versa, means inverse, reciprocal of it, means mechanical power into electrical power. So I'm talking about mechanical power into electrical power is basically the generator. And if I'm talking about the electrical power to the mechanical power, means take input as a electrical power, gives output as a mechanical power, that is motor, and takes mechanical as input power and gives output as electrical power, that is generator. So generator is there, motor is there. So we talk about this thing now. Generator action. An EMF voltage is induced in a conductor. An EMF voltage is induced in a conductor if it moves through a magnetic field. An EMF is induced in a conductor if it's moved through a magnetic field. So we can say EMF induced. We can say motor action. A force is induced in a conductor that has a current going through it and plays in a magnetic field. Okay. So for generator action, we can say Faraday law of an electromagnetic induction. In that Faraday law of an electromagnetic induction, basically I'm talking about the first law. What the first law says basically tells you that if there is a flux linkage variation in a coil or in a field, then there will be an induced EMF, or we can say the induction of an EMF. There will be a production of an EMF. If it is a closed, then its current will flow. So induced EMF, if EMF is there, if it is closed, we can say induced current. So that is the first law. Second law says that the magnitude is equal. Okay, so the basic principle for generator action or for DC generator is Faraday law of an electromagnetic induction. Now, if I'm talking about the motor action or motor, we can say so it is a electromagnetic interaction, a force law. We can say what is it? A force law, which we have studied in the unit number 1, basically the laws of electromagnetism. We can say so a force law basically tells you what? Whenever there is a current carrying conductor placed in a magnetic field, it experiences a force. Whenever there is a current carrying conductor placed in a magnetic field, it experiences a force. So, if force is applying on that conductor placed in a magnetic field, torque will take place, and due to the torque, it will start rotating. So, Fleming right hand rule for the generator action, Fleming left hand rule for the motor action. Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction is for generator action, and electromagnetic interaction force law, we can say, or force law is for the motor action. So, any DC machine can act either as a generator or motor. Construction is same, but if I'm giving input electrical and taking output mechanical, that will give like a motor. And if giving the output of motor to the machine, that is DC machine, so I'm giving output means I'm giving mechanical as an input to that machine and taking output as electrical, so it become generator. So generator gives you the electrical output, motor gives you the mechanical output. Generator takes mechanical as an input, motor take electrical as an input. So output of generator is the input for motor, and output of motor is the input for the generator. So I hope you understand about the basics of DC machine, that is the fundamentals. Now moving forward. Now, if I am talking about the machine, so my dear students, construction detail is very important part, is a very important thing. If I don't know the construction, so how can I judge the working of it? If I don't know about that person, then how can we judge their that characteristic is with him? Means the construction part. If I saw a person as a being, so personality is important for us. Personality is important for us, so we can judge from it. So the construction part is basically a part of personality also. So I'm talking about the constructional details of DC machine. Maybe motor, maybe generator, either motor or generator. So we can say both having the same construction, but the input is different. Which means if I'm talking about the generator, so it take mechanical power as input. If I'm talking about the motor, so electrical power is input. I hope you understand. Now first is yoke, second is rotor, that is also called as armature, third is stator, that is called as field electromagnets we have, that is it comes in the field, that is pole core and pole shoe in the field we have, brushes we have, shaft we have, armature we have, that is known as rotating part, coil, because we use coils on both, means field and armature, stator and rotor, we can say. Okay, commutator is a very important part, it is a very important part. Okay, bearings. Commutator is basically the arrangement having commutator and brush. So we having a brush here also, and bearings. Because if we want to rotate something, do I need what? My dear student, I need something rotating part. So bearing helps for the rotation. Okay, help for the rotation part. So I hope you understand this thing. Now these are the basically the part, these are the construction part of the DC machine. Now taking one by one. First is constructional details of DC machine. Now it is a cross section view of DC machine. The diagram which I am showing you, basically the image which I am showing you here, my dear student. So see, starting from the first one, that is eye bolt, where we can carry it very easily. Now whole thing which is shown by this thing, whole circle, that is known as yoke. That is known as yoke. Then we having the pole core. The middle one is pole core. The dashed line, we can say the field coil. What we can say, the field coil. And the bottom portion, that is the very higher cross section compared to the field, that is pole shoe. That is what? Pole shoe, my dear student. Now the rotating part, we having some minimum air gap between it. So this is the rotating part having some slots. So these the thing which is in the circular form, I am showing in a basically sort, that is the conductors. That is basically the coils, but we called as armature conductors. What is it? Armature conductors. Now this is the middle portion, that is the cylindrical structure, that is basically shown as a we can say a spherical, but it is in the cylindrical form. So that is known as armature core. And these are the brushes which is fitted on it. So that is the brushes. This one, okay. And the whole circular form which I am showing here, that is the commutator, important part. That is what? Commutator. And the middle one is showing as a shaft, showing you as a shaft. And N and S which I am written, which I write in the red color, that is the poles. That is what? That are the poles. So this is the cross section view of a DC machine. How can we identify that it is a DC machine? So this is the north pole, this is the south pole, this is the field coil, this is the field core, this is the field shoe. We can say a field is there, so we can say pole coil, pole core, pole shoe, armature core, armature conductors, commutator, brushes. Okay, whole part covering is known as what? Yoke. Okay, and which through which we can, and you can easily carry this much motor, that is the eye bolt. What is it? Eye bolt. And here these are the legs, where we can make the foundation of it. So I hope you understand about the cross section view of DC machine. So field playing an important role, armature also is playing an important role. Armature core is very important, field core is very important, field core is very important, pole shoe is very important, yoke is main important. If we don't have a yoke, then we can't able to support all these things. Okay, and shaft is very necessary because we want to rotate. So shaft is also there, and legs we make a foundation with the help of this. So this is a cross section view of a DC machine. Now moving forward, this is the main parts of a 4-pole DC machine. Now here what I want to show, I am showing in a very simple manner 4 poles, north, north, south, south. So we have in 2 poles and 2 poles. Calculated 2 plus 2, that is 4 poles. Now these are the field windings. That is the commutator which we show. That is the shaft. The thing which is showing here, that is armature conductors. Then we having the commutator segments. What we having? The commutator segment. And we having the frame or yoke. What we have? Frame or yoke. And these are the interpoles, because in heavier machine we use interpoles for the commutation purpose or for the armature reaction purpose we have. And the pole shoe is also shown here. Okay, so this is the previous one. The diagram is of for 2 pole, it's having 2 pole. Now it is a 4 pole. So difference from the first image to this image, my dear student, is the poles. In the previous image I am showing you the 2 poles, north and south, but in this image I am showing here the 4 pole, north, north, south, south, north, south, south, north. Okay, so these are the whole arrangement. I hope you understand this thing. Now moving forward, practical DC machine. Now practical DC machine, how it looks, how it look like. So see, the shown here, that is the field poles. What is it? The field poles. Here the lugs we are connecting with the help of commutator. Commutator is shown here, and commutator having the lugs which is connected to the armature winding through armature core basically. So First part is the yoke. Again we having the field poles. Again we having the field winding. Then we having what? Armature conductors. This is the armature core. It is in the form of cylindrical structure. Why it is student? This is the rod, that is shaft, and these are the brushes shown here. These are what? Brushes, and these are the lugs through which we are basically make a contact between commutator and the armature like this. These are the lugs, so I am connecting like this. So that is the connection between armature conductors and what? Commutator, or armature and commutator. So I hope you understand. And these are the feet through which we can make a connection or make a basically foundation. We can place on the surface, or we can place on a foundation with the help of these feet known as legs. Okay, so this is the practical DC machine, means how DC machine looks. Previous one showing you the diagram. Now it is the basic diagram which shows you how it look like, how the DC machine look like, my dear student. So I hope you understand. Now moving forward, yoke. First part, what is it? Yoke. Yoke serves so many things. Serve so many things. First, act as a frame of the DC machine. It is acting like what? Frame. It is acting like a what? Frame for machine. That is DC machine. Gives mechanical support to the all components of DC machine. So many components we have. Already I tell you, so many components are. Though it gives mechanical support. Low reluctance for magnetic flux means if reluctance is higher, then magnetic flux is lower, because reluctance is a property of magnetic material which opposes the creation of flux. So if reluctance is higher, then generation of flux is lower. So that yoke will give you the low reluctance, not higher reluctance. Now if reluctance is low, means permeability is higher. Permeability is higher. So act as a frame of DC machine, mechanical support to all components, low reluctance for magnetic flux, high permeability, obviously it having the high permeability. For small machine we use cast iron, low cost. Small DC machines we use what? Cast iron, because it is cheaper compared to the another iron. So we use what? Cast iron for the low cost, cheaper. For large machines, cast steel, rolled steel. As I earlier told you, for heavy duty and large machine, we use cast steel because having the higher permeability compared to the another, the cast iron, or we can say iron. Okay, and it also serve one thing, that is it carries the flux. It carries the flux because the flux moving in the air gap, so it carries the flux also. Now see here. Here we having the lifting eye, where we can lift it with the help of crane. A terminal box where we found terminals supply. We give supply or we take supply from it. These are the feet I have already told you, and this is the frame. This is what, my dear student? This is the frame. Now it is look like this: solid pole core. Solid pole core we place it. Okay, rivet with the help of rivets. These are the screw, because if we stick it through the adhesive, it can be removed very easily. It can be fell down when it rotates. So here now laminated pole shoe are there. What we have? Laminated pole shoe. It is shown like this. So this is the pole core and pole shoe. We basically screwed in the part of this yoke. Okay, so this is for the large DC machine. For small DC machine, it look like this, very small. It look like this, very small. So frame for DC machine, mechanical support, low reluctance for magnetic flux, high permeability. Cast iron for low or for small machines, cast steel for large machine. Steel, rolled steel, we can say. Now moving forward, pole cores and pole shoes. Now this is the main part, or we can say important part. We also called it field magnets. What we called as field magnets. So one thing I already basically told you in my lectures, that two things are possible. One is the permanent magnet, another one is the electromagnet. That is called as temporary magnet. So permanent magnet, if we are purchasing permanent magnet of small size, so it costs you a lot. But if I want to purchase in a huge manner or big size, it can't be possible to purchase it because it is not feasible. So we want to convert into the temporary magnet, and temporary magnets are the electromagnets. And electromagnets are those magnets in which we flow we basically having a core of ferromagnetic material, winding wound on it, and if we give supply or if we flow the current on that coil as per the Biot-Savart law, what will happen? What will happen, my dear student? As per the Biot-Savart law, what will happen? The MMF will take place. That is what? Ampere turn. And MMF is there, then flux is there. Okay, then density is there and intensity is there. So we want what? We want magnet. So here, these are the field magnets basically. So pole core is basically the pole body. Pole core is what? Is having the body. Because if I want to wounding, basically wound on a something, that is the core. So that is the pole core and body, and it is made up of ferromagnetic material. So carry the field coils, obviously, because we want to make field, we want to make electromagnet. So I need a coil which is wounded on that core. So I need a coil which is wounded on the core. So I need a coil, my dear student. So that is the coil, and coil is made up of copper or aluminum. Now rectangle cross section. Generally we use what? Rectangle cross section. Opposite two sides are equal. Opposite two sides are equal. Okay. Now laminated to reduce heat loss. Laminated to reduce heat losses. Basically it is laminated to reduce which type of loss? That is eddy current loss. Eddy current loss. And if I want to reduce the eddy current loss, so I need laminations, that is leakage current. If you want to divide the current, make a parallel path. So laminations make a parallel path for the current. So that is the which I want to reduce, but basically it is the eddy current loss and heat loss also. Now fitted to yoke through bolts. As I earlier told you, this is the pole core. I fitted with the help of bolt A. Okay. Now pole shoe. Pole core is there. Now pole shoe. Now my dear student, pole shoe acts as a support to field poles and spread out flux. Okay, so what I want to tell you here, pole shoe is what? Acts as a support. It gives the support to the field poles. It is just like this field poles and spread out the flux. It is of basically uh, higher cross section, so reluctance is less and flux induction is more. So if I want to induce or generate or produce more flux or spread out the flux, I need the larger cross section. That is the pole shoe. So acts as a support to field poles and spread out the flux. Spread out, my dear student, what? A flux. Okay. Now pole core and pole shoe, both are laminated of annealed steel. It, basically pole core and pole shoe, to reduce the losses, are laminated of annealed steel of thickness of 1 mm to 0.25 mm. Of thickness of 1 mm to 0.25 mm. So I hope you understand about the field magnets. Pole core, that is the pole body. Now see here. These are the pole shoe having the cross section. Now this is the laminated pole core. This is what? Rectangular structure with this is the structure of pole shoe, and these are the rivet holes. These are what? The rivet holes, and we having the lamination. What is it? See, some frame, we can say layer to layer to layer to layer. That is what? The laminations. So we having the laminated iron core, laminated pole core to reduce the losses. So I am laminating here. So it look like this. It is basically, see here, it is looking like this, and these are the bolt or screw which we can fit through with the help of this. Now it is fitting, that is the steel rod through steel rod. It is a yoke, and this is the cross section of this pole shoe. So this pole shoe is basically connecting with the yoke with the help of screw, with the help of bolt, to make it the make or which we want the permanent arrangement. That is the permanent arrangement. So that is the pole old shoe. I hope you understand. Now moving forward. Now field magnets. Again field magnets we have. If I am talking about the field magnet, my dear student, so I am talking about the magnet first of all. That is the electromagnet. And I earlier told you, if I want to make electromagnet, so I need a core, I need a medium, okay, that is made up of ferromagnetic material or alloy. Ferromagnetic material means iron, nickel, steel, cobalt, and alloy. Okay, so I need a path. I need a basically a medium, that is the core, and on that core I have to wound the winding. What I have to do? I have to wind the winding on it, coils on it. So that coils is known as the field coil. Why it is called field coil? As per the Biot-Savart law, my dear student, if I am flowing a current in a coil, surround of that coil we'll find a magnetic field due to the MMF or reactance. So applying that phenomena, I need a coil that is known as field coil, made up of copper or aluminum. That coil is basically wounded on a core in a field. That is the field core, we can say pole core or field core. So field coils are basically known as the magnetizing coil and also known as the exciting coils. Why exciting coils? Because if I am providing current into it, though it excites and gives you the flux, provide excitation, and that is called field flux. That is what? A field flux. Okay, so I hope you understand about the field coils. Now, number of poles depend speed of armature on and the output for the machine design. Now, number of poles depend of the speed of armature. Now, how the speed? How the basically this the field and this the armature. So it rotate. So if I want to rotate the armature, so the speed of armature on and the output for which the machine designed, number of poles depend on these things. Number of poles, which how many poles I have to need and how many poles I have to make, basically depends two things: machine design, output, and the speed of armature. How does rotor rotate? In which speed the rotor rotates, basically. So it is depend on this thing. So I hope you understand. Now, frame to be used for design for exciting. Now, frame, as I earlier told you, is used or frame to use for design of exciting coils. That is the field coils. I am already told you different type of fields: separately exciting and self-exciting. On the basis of this excitation, we have two types of DC machines: self-excited or separately excited. Separately excited having doesn't having any parts, but self-excited having the three parts, my dear student: shunt wound, series wound, and compound wound. And compound wound are of two types: cumulative and differential compound, long shunt and short shunt. So later I'll tell you the types, but these are the basically field coils. So hope you understand. Now, see here, this is the frame, okay, and this is the wire, means coil, which I am here, and these are the exciting coils which I am placing here. This is the laminated core and this is the laminated pole shoe. In between this means, see, it is the plane here. Now I wound a winding on it, I place winding on it, okay. And one thing is there, the winding is basically the former wound winding. This type of field winding we have, that is former wound. Now former wound is basically here. Now I am taking a frame that is former of rectangular structure. I wound a winding on it and directly place on it. So that is known as former wound winding. Former wound winding. I having a former of rectangular size, rectangular shape. So I place winding on it. Though winding will take up shape of what? Shape, take a shape of rectangular. Take a shape of frame. And what we can do? Directly place that basically the coil shape directly on the core. So that is known as former wound. Okay, I hope you understand. Now, this is the armature core. Later on, I am talking about this thing, that is the armature core. Now, see here. This is the armature core. This is the keyway for to connect directly on the shaft. Okay, and these are the some slots. This is looking like the slots. These are the laminators, means laminations. So I having a plan like this. Here we having the air holes, keyway. Directly with the help of this keyway, we can fit this part on the shaft very easily. Now these are the teeth, and we can also say these are the slots. Okay, so slots making the teeth here. These are the slots in which we can directly place our conductors. What we can do, my dear student, we can directly place our conductors here. So these are the slot. Laminators are there, slot are there, keyway is there, and hair holes are there. And these slots basically uh, showing you a teeth. So it is a shape of teeth, and that is the key. Now, armature core, my dear student, armature core. One thing I want to tell you, one is the stationary part, that is known as stator, also known as field. Another part is rotating, that is known as armature or rotor. In AC machine we called as what, my dear student? Rotor. But in this DC machine we called as armature. And this armature is do what? It rotate and cut the flux. It rotate, gives you the mechanical output, and it rotate and cut the flux, give you the electrical output. So two things it is performing, giving you the mechanical output if you want mechanical output, and if you don't want mechanical output, then it cuts the flux as per the Faraday law of an electromagnetic induction. So it gives you the electrical output. So when I'm talking about the it gives you the electrical output, it means I'm talking about, my dear student, what? Generator. And it gives you the mechanical output, it means I'm talking about what, my dear student? That is DC motor, means motor. Okay. Now, conductor system, we can also call it as conductor system. Armature core, that is known as armature. First, the armature core plays an important role. Why? It support armature windings. Winding means coil, which we bound on it. That is made up of aluminum for small machines and copper for heavier or heavy duty machines. Okay. To rotate conductors in a magnetic field, it rotates the conductor in a magnetic field. It is cylindrical or drum shaped, is built. It is of which shape? Cylindrical or drum shaped is built. If I want to build it, I want to make it, I want to manufacture it, I want to produce it, so I have to use cylindrical or drum shape. Okay, I hope you understand. Now made up of high permeability silicon steel stampings. Now I want to convert into magnetic field, I want to convert to electrical field, so I need what? High permeability silicon steel, that is mu permeability. Silicon steel I am using. Why I'm using silicon steel, my dear student? Silicon I am using for the hysteresis loss, and lamination I am also using for the eddy current loss. So made up of high permeability silicon steel stampings of 0.5 millimeter thickness, thick we can say. Now each stamping is separated from its neighboring. Each stamping is separated from its neighboring, one by thin varnish as insulation. One by thin varnish as insulation, or we can use mica also for the insulation purpose. Varnish we can use, and we can use mica also. So both our things are there, mica and varnish. Okay. So neighboring one by one, one upon one upon one upon one, but they're having the insulation as having the insulation by thin varnish. Now it is laminated to reduce what, my dear student? Eddy current loss. I earlier told you fingering. Eddy current loss I earlier told you in the previous lectures. So eddy current loss is there. So laminated to reduce what? Eddy current losses. Okay. A small air gap between pole pieces and the armature, so that no rubbing between that. My dear student, there will be some air gap, not like this. Otherwise it rubs. Friction will be there. So I have to do what? Some air gap. So it rotate very easily. It can rotate very easily. So rubbing will be not taken place. Now, high grade silicon steel used to reduce two things. Silicon content reduce two things: hysteresis loss and laminations, which I am making for eddy current loss. So, what, my dear student? Hysteresis loss. If I want to reduce silicon content steel, the reversal of magnetism, that is hysteresis. So I want to make the BH curve density higher. So I use what? Silicon. Steel is there, but I am introducing some silicon part. So it gives you the higher magnetization. Means no magnetic saturation. It not basically easily get magnetic saturation. It takes some time. So reduce hysteresis loss. Now eddy current loss, if I want to use leakage current loss, I want to reduce. So I have to make laminations, a parallel path for the current. So I have to make eddy current. I have to make laminations to reduce eddy current loss. Okay, I hope you understand. Now ventilating ducts are provided to dissipate heat. Now these are the ventilating ducts, or we can say air holes. Okay, here now ventilating ducts are provided to dissipate heat generated by above losses. To dissipate the heat, first of all, or to dissipate heat that is generated by the above losses. First, dissipate the heat, I'm talking about. Second, to dissipate heat generated by the above losses. It is moving, again dissipating the heat through above losses, again dissipating the heat. So two heats are there, so I have to dissipate that two heats. Okay, now armature winding. What it do basically? Main flux cuts armature and hence EMF is induced as per the Faraday law of an electromagnetic induction. So, my dear student, as per the Faraday law of an electromagnetic induction, what I have to do? I have to cut the flux. I have to vary the flux. If I want to vary the flux, my dear student, so I have to do what? I have to basically cut the flux. So that cutting part is basically done by this armature. Is done by armature. So I hope you understand, you better understand about this thing. So it cuts the armature flux. Basically armature cut the main flux that is generated by the field, as I earlier told you. So hence EMF is induced. Faraday law of an electromagnetic induction. Winding made up of copper or aluminum. Now winding is made up of what, my dear student? Copper or aluminum. Now windings are insulated each other. They are insulated each other with the mica. They are insulated each other or paper, mica or varnish. Three we can use. So they are insulated to each other. Now I hope you understand. Now one thing I want to tell you, my dear student, if I am talking about the simple working of DC machine. Now what happens in the DC machine? If I give supply to the field, if I give supply to the field coils, what will happen? Flux will generate. Now that flux is basically of generating, and if I am rotate the rotor or armature, so that armature cut the flux. Okay, cut the flux, and as the flux is cutting, as the flux is varying, as per the Faraday law of electromagnetic induction, what can we do, my dear student? There will be an induction of an EMF, induce EMF, induce current, my dear student. So if I want to maintain this thing, okay, though if I want to maintain this thing means I have to uh, saw about the see about the law. Now what happens? It is moving like this, rotor is moving like this. If it cuts the flux, Fleming Lefton rule, if I am applying the Fleming Lefton rule, motion of the conductor in a magnetic field induced EMF. So it is working like this. Now see the direction. See the direction, my dear student. Induce EMF. Now EMF is changing. Now EMF is changing. If EMF is changing, my dear student, it means it is not unidirectional. It is not unidirectional. It is bidirectional. It is bidirectional, my dear student. So bidirectional current, if I am taking as output, though it is not DC machine. If I am talking about the bidirectional current of DC machine, the DC machine is giving you the bidirectional current in the output. Means, my dear student, it is AC. But I'm talking about DC machine. So the input will be DC and output as will be the DC, as I earlier told you. So if input is AC and we want to convert it to DC, though I need a one instrument, one component that is known as commutator. That is the commutator. And this commutator does not present in AC machines. This commutator already always present in a DC machine. Why? Because we want to convert the bidirectional current into unidirectional. Bidirectional means AC, because in AC we having positive cycle, positive cycle, negative cycle. But in DC, either positive or negative. Plus 5, minus 5. But in AC we always get plus 5, minus 5, plus 5, minus 5, plus 5, minus 5, plus 5, and minus 5, and so on. Okay. So to convert that bidirectional current into unidirectional current, I need the instrument, I need the component that is known as commutator. So commutator is very important part in a DC machine. Okay. Now commutator is what? Hard drawn copper bar segmented. It is basically the hard drawn copper. Copper is a good conductor of electricity. So hard drawn copper bar segmented, insulated from each other by mica segment. Hard drawn copper bar segmented, insulated from each other by mica segments. Hard drawn copper bar segmented, insulated. High copper bar drawn, hard copper bars we having segmented, insulated from each other by mica segments. Insulation. So here I am using the mica insulation. In the previous we are using for the armature we use varnish, we use mica also, but here I am using the mica. Okay, so hard run copper bar segments insulated from each other by mica segment. Okay, that is known as insulation. That is not known as, my dear student, insulation. Now it is armature between armature and external circuit, means output terminals and the armature rotating part. So it behaving between the armature and the external circuit, the terminals. Okay. Now split rings, it having acts like rectifier AC to DC. So it's behave like what? Rectifier. Rectifier do what? Convert alternating current into direct current. So here it is also behaving like this. Convert bidirectional current into unidirectional current. Convert, my dear student, bidirectional current into unidirectional current. So I hope you understand. Now see here. These are the commutator hub. This is the shaft. Here it is placed. These are the segment. Commutator segment means hard drawn copper bars. Okay. This is the V ring. Ring structure is there. This is mica night because it is basically other by each other by mica segment. So this is mica night V rings. It is written here. And riser for lug. This is the lug, commutator lugs. So it look like this. It is the basic internal. This is the outer part. Here we have the commutator hub. This is the shaft. So it placed in the shaft. Now this is insulated copper segments. These are the bar and these are the segments, also known as copper bar. And these are the commutator lugs. We make a connection with it. These are the commutator lugs. See, these are what? These are the commutator lugs through which we make a connection with the commutator bar with the armature conductors, armature windings. Okay, take current from it and do commutation and convert into DC. So this is the basic arrangement or basic diagram or basic construction of commutator. Segments are there with the mic insulation, lugs are there for the connection, and these are the end clamp. What are they? These are the end clamp. So I hope you understand about this thing. This is the main important part. Now, my district. First, field generated cut by the armature. Now armature induced current because it's having the coil that carries the current. If the current is there that is of bidirectional, convert into unidirectional with the help of this commutator system or commutator arrangement. Now I want to give that current to the terminals, flow to the terminals. Do I need one another thing? That is what? Brushes. Brushes. That is the important part, my dear student. Brushes. Brushes are very important because these brushes are connected with the commutator. Okay, as I earlier showed you in my figures, the diagram, commutator segment, and it carries the current from the commutator and give to the terminals, flow to the terminals, move to the terminals. I hope you understand. Now brushes and brush gear. Gear is also there. Carries, which carries the brush holder, we can say. Now it is made up of carbon, carbon graphite, copper used to collect current from commutation in case of generator. Because generator gives you the electrical output, but motor gives you the mechanical output. So rotation is there, that is mechanical. But if current is there, that is generator. So it collects the current from commutation in case of generator. Okay, I hope you understand. Now, made up of carbon, cheaper cost carbon, higher cost graphite. Copper is also there, but we generally use copper, carbon and carbon graphite. Now, understand about the brushes. Now, shaft and bearings. Shaft is basically the mechanical link between prime mover and armature. Prime mover means which through which we can rotate, give mechanical input to the generator armature. So prime mover is there. So prime mover link, we can say a rod on which we mount a armature. Rod is there, we mount armature on it. So that is shaft. Okay. Now bearings. Bearings is for the free rotation. The example of bearing is in your automobile. In your cycle, we having bearings to rotate the tire very easily. Okay, between the two connections. Okay, so that is the bearings. Okay, now see. Here we having the bearing. In this bearing, we having the fixed, that is the rotating portion, that is the fixed portion, and between it we having the iron balls. Between we having what? the iron cores. Now here the brush is there, carbon brush. This is the spring. This is the tension adjusting handle. This is the brush bush box, we can say, spindle hole, and flexible CU pigtail, carbon bush. This is the carbon gear. We can say the carbon hole assembly. Basically, the carbon means I'm talking about the brushes. So carbon brush hole assembly, in which this is the carbon brush, this is the spring, tension adjusting handle, which type of tension I want to make it in spring. Brush box, now spindle hole. What is it? The spindle hole. Okay, I hope you understand. Now next, a simple construction, how it looks like. It is a motor house. We can say the yoke. Okay, this is the iron core. See here, this is the iron core. It look like this, and these are the field windings I am making. Aluminum or copper. So though it is a copper, and this is making what? Pole, north and south pole. See there, known as pole. So it is a photo of it, image of it. So for the better understanding. So I hope you understand about the DC motor construction. Now moving forward, it is the rotor construction. That is the stator construction. We can say this is the rotor construction. See here. Now in this is the iron core made up of. Here we having the coil. It is a cylindrical structure. Now this is the shaft. See, this is the shaft. These are the bearings, ball bearings, which I talked you, which I told you basically. This is the insulation between segments. This is the insulation, varnish or mica. Okay, this is also insulation. This is the iron core. This is the coil. This is the ball bearing. This is the coil insulation. See here. This is commutator, an important part. Rectifier, or we can say convert bidirectional current into unidirectional, convert AC into DC. So that is commutator segment. Insulation between segments with the mica, or we can say varnish. Coil commutator interconnection. This is what? Interconnection. And this is showing you the insulation between segments. So I hope you understand about the rotor of DC machine or armature of DC machine. It is a very simple diagram for you, simple image for you. It is a photo through which you can easily identify how iron core, how armature having the construction, how it works. So I hope you understand. Now, this is the DC machine construction cut away view of a DC machine. Now here we having the spring, brush holder. Now rotor is showing here. This is the brush graphite I am using instead of copper. This is the brush holder. I told you one thing first. Now this is spring shown here, spring, and this is the commutator. This is what, my dear student, commutator. Okay. Now see this. Now armature winding. So armature winding is classified into two types, lap and field. So later on I will tell you about the lap winding and wave winding in my next lecture. Okay, I hope you understand all about this. Now some multiple choice question related to this. Where is the field winding mounted in a DC machine? Obviously in the stator. I told you. What are the materials used for the brushes in DC machines? Carbon, because we use carbon or graphite. So carbon option is given to you. Now function of yoke is to provide the return path for magnetic flux. Okay, so we have it too. Now which of the following part is used in construction of DC machine but not in AC machine? I earlier told you, my dear student, that is commutator. The armature of DC motor is laminated to reduce eddy current losses. The commutator segment are connected to armature connector by means of lugs. I already told you that is copper lugs. A option. Now, the material for commutator brushes generally brushes, obviously brushes I am talking about, though carbon. The insulating material used for the commutator segment is generally we have mica, carbon, graphite. So mica is there. Okay, generally it is generally not for only. Generally we use mica, but we use insulating varnish also. Now, armature in DC machine is made up of laminated steel instead of wood because it has more mechanical strength and high permeability. Okay, electrical power output in DC generator is equal to output. So electric power developed in armature, iron, copper loss. So third is okay. Now these are the some references which I am talking about. A. Phil Garrett, Kingsley Jr. and Women's Electric Machinery 6th edition. Tatra McGraw-Hill book is there, International Student Edition. So it is a very good book. It consists so many basic concepts of machine, and the uh, good book also available in our library. So just you can go and just read it and just look it. And I took some part from it also. R.K. Srivastava, Seenage Learning, Electrical Machines, a good book again. Stephen J. Chapman is also an international author book. Good book, consists of very good part. Gopal K. Dubey is also there. Okay, so these are the books which you can refer for this machine. So I hope you understand about this lecture. So thank you from my side for understanding or for listening this lecture. I hope you understand. So this is all about my from my side, my dear student. Hope you understand. So thank you.